Hello everybody and welcome to 5 Things We Learned. Now, this is a show for basically things we learned from Formula 1. Unfortunately, the last episode may have got taken down because some random Indian company decided that it owned the copyright for Formula 1, but we shall see if it comes back up again. Anyway, number 5, McLaren are strong. Now, McLaren are definitely a strong car this year. Lando Norris did have a very scruffy start of the race, but he managed to get his way back up. Carlos Sainz, on the other hand, had a fantastic start and really was able to take the race and push against the Red Bull. The Red Bull did not look like it had the speed of the McLaren, and Carlos Sainz was even saying after the race that he believes that he could have actually taken a bit of the pace towards the Mercedes at the beginning of the race. So this shows that the McLaren has definitely got some pace in it. To quote Carlos Sainz, who would have thought 5 months ago that we would have been fighting at the front? Now, there are some issues, and I think Renault is going to be the big issue for McLaren this year. I don't think that engine package is working very well, but we'll get onto that in the future. Lando Norris, however, did manage to get in the points, finishing 6th place. A fantastic result for Lando Norris there, his first ever points finish. And I do feel that if Carlos Sainz had managed to stay in the race and not had a failure again, he would have been able to take it to Verstappen. Would he be able to pass Verstappen? Who knows? But he definitely had the pace there. Number 4, woes for Renault. The Renault engine is struggling, it seems, this season. We saw that with McLaren last race having a failure. We saw it this race with both Renaults failing on the same lap at the same moment as well. A really strange failure. Nico Hülkenberg obviously had some form of engine issue because you could see the smoke bellowing out the back of his car. But Daniel Ricciardo, it seems he just lost all power and the engine just switched itself off. So a really bizarre incident there for the Renault boys. But for them to both have the issues at the same time, the engines would have the same sort of lifespan. This is showing the Renault really does not have the reliability it needs. And Renault could be in the same situation that Honda found themselves in when they were with McLaren a few years back, where they're basically going to be needing replacement parts for the engine very early on in the season. And this is really bad news for Renault and McLaren. Hopefully they can fix this. Renault showed pace though. The Renaults were not slow. Nico Hülkenberg was 6th and Daniel Ricciardo was 10th. Danny Rick having a pretty terrible race. Again, just having some bad luck. Having a very strange, the strategy was on as well was not too helpful. But, he was running 2nd for part of the race because of the strategy. They were on pace with the other cars. They weren't exactly slow. But that reliability is the thing that is really killing them. It looked like a smart move for Danny Rick to move away from Honda because obviously Honda are not known for their reliability. But it seems like Renault is the engine that is going to be the least reliable this year, which is a real shame because that car has some seriously good speed and some seriously good talent behind it. Number 3, Max Verstappen is getting the maximum out of the Red Bull. Now, the Red Bull this year seems to be a car that is quite good, but most of that seems to be down to the chassis. The engine is definitely struggling, and you can see that with the pace of the car. They've said it's around about 12 to 20 horsepower down on the rest of the field, which definitely seems plausible. The Toro Rossos are really struggling as well, and they are sort of doing worse than they were last year, so to say. Last year they were much better pace-wise, especially at Bahrain. I think it was Gasly, wasn't it, who finished 4th or very high up the order last year. But the Red Bull this year doesn't seem to have the overall pace. It seems like the McLaren is going to be the car that is that sort of number 3 pace-wise. From what we've seen with Carlos Sainz, But I think the Red Bull's going to be battling very well. I think we're going to get some good fights between Verstappen and Sainz. That's something I'm really looking forward to. But Max is out driving the car at the moment. And that's not to be nasty to Gasly. I don't think Gasly's slow, but I think Gasly is a good representative of the actual pace of the car overall. So Max Verstappen is just eking out that extra couple of tenths that those amazing drivers do. And Verstappen is definitely one of those drivers. He's capable of just bringing out a little bit more in the car. His driving style as well has changed this year. He's not quite as erratic, and hopefully that will mean he's going to get more good point finishes. And this will mean Red Bull are going to have a good points haul at the end of the year. They might well get third in the championship, which will be ideal for them, because next year is the year where that Honda is really going to start striking. Number 2, Vettel is shaken. It definitely seems like Vettel is starting to crack a little bit. This early stage of the season as well, that's not a good thing for Ferrari. Vettel is really showing those signs that he was sort of showing when Daniel Ricciardo was at Red Bull with him. He's got that erratic driving, he's starting to try and push too much out of the car. That spin is quite representative of this sort of mentality that he has when he is slower than a teammate. He hates it, he gets very, very frustrated, and he really struggles. When he was racing against Kimi was, pretty much on his pace or just a little bit slower, so that was fine. Vettel was pretty good in his headspace. However, now he's got a teammate that's fresh, young and hungry, that is faster than him by all looks of things. We could see that in Melbourne, where Leclerc was told to ease off and not overtake Vettel. And I did say in my last video as well that maybe that was a mistake, because maybe Leclerc might be the one looking for the championship. And Vettel has really struggled in this race. He ended up in 5th, which I think was better than he expected. He was really struggling all race long and not enjoying the car. If you listen to him in the post-race interviews as well, you can see that he's shaken. He's really down. He's very dour. He's not got any sort of joy on his face, and he seems very frustrated. And I do wonder if the team start getting behind Leclerc, if the team start falling in that regard, will we see Vettel fall off the pace? I hope not, because I do want to see Ferrari really facing Mercedes, but Vettel might just be losing his coolness and falling into that track that he did at Red Bull. Number 1, Mercedes need a lot of work. Now, this is an odd one, I know, because Mercedes had a 1-2 victory. It seems all good for them. They've had 2 1-2s at the beginning of the year. Australia is never representative of the pace in the year, but Bahrain shows how good a car can be on these sort of more traditional racetracks, and Mercedes were really struggling. Both Mercedes were very close to each other as well, and you could see that with their ultimate pace. Hamilton and Bottas both finished nearly sort of within a couple of tenths of each other, so there was not a huge gap between them. The pace of the Ferrari, however, will have really got the Silver Arrow shaken and worried, especially in qualifying, with Charles Leclerc being, I think it was 3 tenths faster than the second place man, Sebastian Vettel. And both of the Ferraris were faster than both the Mercedes, and that is a worrying sign for the Silver Arrows. Mercedes has definitely got lucky these last 2 races. There is also the thing that they do have reliability on their side, and it seems the Ferrari might be a little bit more fragile. But this has definitely got Mercedes worried, and they're going to need to do something drastic to get their speed up. And I doubt we'll see that before the European stint of the season starts. And this could give Ferrari a good launching pad for their attack this season. And with China coming up next, a track that is similar-ish to Bahrain, it looks like Ferrari might have the pace over Mercedes once more. Now, I know this was a top 5, but I need a special mention. Sort of a special mention, almost like a 0 place. Charles Leclerc. Leclerc, what a weekend he had. How could I not mention this man? He had the race he should have won. Hamilton admitted that he should have won. Everybody admitted this was Leclerc's race, his weekend. He was on fire. He was fastest through the practice sessions. He annihilated his teammate in qualifying. He outdrove everybody. Even though he had a bad start, he managed to claw his way back up, overtaking Hamilton, Vettel on track. What a brilliant feat. He was just amazing. He was on fire all race. And one has to wonder, if it were not for that engine issue that he had, he would have definitely won. But maybe there was a little bit of intervention from karma, or maybe his godfather in the afterlife, or wherever we end up, Mr. Jules Bianchi, just to get the Renaults out of the race and get the safety car there to secure a podium, at least for Charles. Because this was his first podium. He deserved that, but his first podium should have been at top of the step. History books will always record it as third place, but we all know that he should have been in first. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know what you think is going to happen for the rest of the season. Like, comment, subscribe as well. Share those things if you want to hear more of these as well. I will be doing it throughout the season, just adding my little notes throughout the Formula 1 season. If you want to listen to me ramble on about motorsport, I'm more than happy to do it. And last of all, just a shout out to Performance E-Streaming as well. If you would like to hear more of me, head over to Performance E-Streaming. There I will be doing commentary for the Cup races all season long. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.